B-Bad and Brandon.
Very well. Yourself?
Mate, thanks for stepping in for a podcast, bro. I knew I'd be keen to get you on. I just didn't realise we'd be getting you on so quickly, which is
Cheers
handy.
for having me. Very keen.
That's all right, bro. Mate, first ever. Are we recording?
Oh, we're recording. Also, hi, I'm Brandon.
This is Brandon.
Lovely to meet you, mate.
Did you meet Brando?
I think we would have. I think I remember seeing him in passing, but never officially met. So
back when he was junior burger.
Yeah, I haven't had the pleasure, eh?
How old are you, Adam?
I'm 20 years old.
Oh, I feel so old. I don't know. I can't imagine how you feel. So,
real old, thanks.
Yeah, wow.
Being 28.
I'm 28.
Yeah.
So you must be 29.
Sticking along.
And you got the FB shirt on, bro. Well done.
I mean, not just today. I live in it, eh?
Is that still the army green?
This is one of the OG ones, actually. This is just like a.
Oh,
you've got the coveted army green when back when we would only give that out. You, me, and Alex, and I think your dad and Kev had army green.
Yeah, fill up a couple of fridges and do a bit of vacuuming. But
yep,
worth it.
Yeah,
yeah, we're on,
bro, mate. So what we're going to do? We kick it off. We got to introduce you, sir, Mr. Adam.
Right.
And we will ask you 21 words to find out who you are and what you do. And he will count all the words.
To the best of my ability.
Including sounds. If you make a sound, if you fart, we will count that as well.
Gotcha.
Are you ready? Oh, okay, go.
Okay, hello. My name is Adam Woolcott. I am a marine scientist currently living in Port Douglas. I used to live in Townsville for university. Before that, Brisbane for school.
Yeah, it's 27.
Yeah.
You're out.
We keep going. I don't want to disrupt that flow.
It was a good flow.
Easy. Before that, UK, born and bred.
Wow.
Yeah, so I moved around a little bit, but currently loving the new place up in Port Douglas. Had the pleasure of hosting Johnny for a cup of coffee the other day. Had a bit of a catch up.
It was good.
Yeah,
absolutely
lovely,
right, mate. And so your backyard is the Great Barrier Reef. Your job is swimming in it, essentially.
Yep.
And you spend all your time studying about it.
Pretty much.
Fucking
far out.
Pretty good gig, bro.
Yeah, look, no complaints coming from this end.
Yeah.
How did the interest spark in marine? Sorry, you said marine scientist?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm currently working as a marine biologist, so pretty similar, basically, just focusing on the biology side of things. Interest sort of sparked. I don't know, I've always been pretty outdoorsy, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Since moving to Oz, we've always lived pretty close to the coast. You know, Brizzy, pretty good access to Moreton, all the rest of it. Picked up a boat when I was mid-teen sort of thing, and just frothed being out in the water, eh? I loved seeing all the wildlife. I was real big into fishing. Then moved into spearfishing, which was obviously spending a lot more time underwater. And then it just sort of, sequence of events flowed into studying what I loved. And you know what I'm saying? If you love what you do, never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
Couldn't be more true.
Man, that's unreal. So can we just before we go into it, spearfishing underwater, can you explain that? I've only ever fished above water.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So when you're fishing above water, so sort of common rod and reel style, you're either using lures and baits, and it's not very selective, right? Whatever comes along and decides to hit that lure or take that bait, that's out of your control. So you can end up catching, small fish, breeding fish, non-take species, things like that. When it's a lot more challenging on the fisher, so a bit more personal skill involved, but you can be that much more selective. You can let the big one swim past, avoid the species you don't want, and you can hand choose the perfect size feed just for yourself. So there's no wastage, super sustainable, and it's a huge adrenaline rush too. And
how do you do it? Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So the main thing with spearing is you got to get your head around free diving.
Yeah.
Which is one of those.
That's
weird
confronting enough.
Yeah. It's one of those weird sort of meditative, getting your mental state, slowing your heart rate right down, and you can only really start hunting once you're fully comfortable under the water. So it's a bit of a dual skill. So you can't just dive straight in and hope to shoot a fish. You got to, get real comfortable in the water, slow right down, and that's when things start happening.
How long can you spend under there, bro?
Oh, not too long compared to my mates, a couple minutes, maybe 2.5 minutes. But I try not to, thinking about the time is the worst thing you can do when you're trying to hold your breath. So
yeah, right.
or anything like that.
Yep.
Or just on feeling.
Yeah, because I heard somewhere, mate, you tell me if I'm wrong, when you feel like you're about to run out of air, you're actually nowhere near about to run out of air.
No, that's dead right. So they say when you get the urge to breathe, where you think you can't go any longer, that's about 1/3.
1/3.
Wow.
That's about 1/3. Yeah. So it's sort of this thing where you push yourself, and it can be pretty uncomfortable at the start, but then your body gets used to the feeling, and you start to get contractions. That's where your diaphragm starts to spasm in an attempt to sort of take in air.
Yep.
And that can be a really uncomfortable feeling if you're just starting off, but it's strange. You'd think it'd be super stressful, but it's actually the most relaxing sport, I reckon.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. So I guess, and like you said, I think the really cool thing of it is you can be a lot more selective of the fish you're chasing down. It's a harder skill, so there's a lot more behind it, which is kind of cool. And, sustainable is probably the big one, right?
For sure. And the other thing, it's even if you're not trying to catch fish, just being able to hold your breath and be under the water, you're a lot less disruptive to the marine life around you.
Yep.
As in, if you're on scuba, for example, you'd be scaring away everything.
Yeah, right.
Kicking all the coral, kicking all the sand up, making a fucking mess under there. And obviously, being a marine scientist, you're obviously pretty passionate about what's happening under the water, and it's kept in premium condition.
For sure.
Is that the purpose behind what you do? Is like to preserve and I guess keep I don't even know what the word is, but make it sustainable, making sure it's around for another few hundred century?
Yeah, bang on. So the work I'm into it's tourism, conservation, and restoration. So the tourism side of things, all about education. So we're trying to get people up from down south, sort of build that emotional connection with the reef so that they can change their behaviors and be a bit more conservative in their day-to-day life. And then the actual restoration work we do. So we're we're taking bits of healthy coral, putting them in these nurseries so they can grow and develop. And once they're to the right sort of age and size, we can reintroduce them to the areas which are struggling the most. And it just sort of gives a bit of a helping hand,
Right.
Yeah, right. So you almost you're growing your own coral up there.
Coral farmers, that's us.
So, can you talk a bit more about like the education that you do, like to the tourists and what they can do better in their day-to-day life?
Yeah, for sure. So the main thing I like to say is come up, have a look at the reef. Like come up, see the GBR. Tourism is such a big thing, especially in Australia for a lot of science. So not just North Queensland, but all these different areas, they get a little bit of government funding, but it's simply not enough to do the work they want to do. They really need the tourism. So that's goes straight back into research and straight back into conservation. So that's one thing which I really like to encourage people to do. Is go see all these remote places, especially if it's like a limited habitat or environment.
Yep.
The other thing, ring up your bank, ring up your super fund, and ask them, are they still investing your money into fossil fuels? And if they are, reconsider. Maybe go to a different organization or a company that's investing in renewables.
Yep.
That's
right.
Not going to make a big difference if only one person does it. But when you get these mass movements, as everyone's doing this, it's going to force the banks, to reconsider how they're investing your money. At the end of the day, it is your money, so you can decide.
That's
that's a powerful movement. I like that.
I've never even one clued into that or even thought of that. That is
right. Yeah, well, that's where a lot of the money is sitting. Those big corporations, they've got quite a lot of swing.
And that's the pollution, I guess, at its
Producing.
point. That's what's creating the issues in the ocean there, up and around the reef up there, and destroying it essentially.
Yeah, it's So we hear quite a lot of people, they're talking about, tourism is going to damage the reef, people kicking the reef, sunscreen, all that sort of stuff. But that is so negligible compared to climate change. A little analogy. So the sites, if you combine all the tourism along the east coast, the Great Barrier Reef, it adds up to about 0.025% of the total area. So 25% of 8% is what the total visited by the tourism industry. So if we gave every single person who came out a hammer and just said, do your worst, it's only going to do that much damage compared to this huge effect that climate change is having on these warming waters.
Yeah.
God, it must be frustrating for you then to see, I guess, that we could be doing so much more.
Yeah, for sure. It's super frustrating. And the most frustrating part for me is watching these news articles and in the media and stuff of them portraying either tourism in a negative light or they're just you know, the whole fake news kind of thing. They're not selling the right picture.
And as a
is the only way we're going to make a difference.
And no doubt, as any tour operator that's coming out on the reef, like that's their business. Why would they want to go out there and destroy it? Like they're going out there to showcase it because they're passionate about that space. And they want it to thrive and survive and coexist, well, co-work with the natural habitat. You know, that'd be the basics of it, eh?
Well, that's what you find if you look sort of into the roots of most of these tourism companies.
Yep.
And from biologists, or I don't know, our company does, and all the other boats. The people who start them off are super passionate about it.
Yep.
It sort of flows through the whole industry. So, yeah, you do pick it up for sure.
So you're working for a tourism company, is that correct? And what's your role within that?
Yeah, cool. So I work for a company called Wavelength Reef Cruises, owned by two biologists, and they sort of use tourism as their funding method to do the research.
Right.
That's unreal.
I'm the marine biologist on the boat. Also do photos, things like that.
Yep.
Basically, I'm a snorkel guide, so I take people out, 3 different sites, an hour at each site, tell them a little bit about the animals, about the coral, give a bit of a conservation speech.
Yep.
And, on the days we're not doing tourism, we've actually just landed a really big government contract to do a lot of surveying and just monitoring reef health as well as the restoration work.
Yeah, wow.
That's awesome.
And what does what's the reef look like up there for reef health? How is it holding up?
Yeah, right. So obviously 2016, Cyclone Yazi did some pretty big damage, and some of the best sites, they're nothing what they used to be.
Yep.
But we only lost about 1/3 during that sort of cyclone and the bleaching event combined. So the real thing to focus on is 2/3 is still awesome.
Yep.
Like, definitely worth coming and look at.
Yep.
We take, like, the sites we go to are the healthiest sites.
Yep.
You can sort of tell if a site's healthy if it's got that plate coral or the branching coral, the real fragile ones.
Yep.
They'll be the first to go. So the sites we go to, they're awesome. And we hope to give like a pretty good representation of how good the reef can be.
Yeah.
Obviously, unfortunately, it's not the case for the whole reef.
Yep.
It's one of those things we often get the question, you know, is the reef dead? Is it dying? People want this yes or no answer, but it's so multifaceted. It's so complex.
Yeah. It's living and dying almost.
Yeah, some areas are thriving, some really not doing well at all.
Yep.
But it's all to do with water temperature.
Yeah. Because it's almost, I know when I did a thing up there, they're talking about how close that water temperature is, 1 degree, and that fucking literally annihilates everything.
Yeah. So it's been sitting at about 29 degrees and about 29.5, 29.6 is when we start bleaching. Luckily, actually, since you've been gone, we got a heap of rain.
Yep.
We've dropped back down. It's like 27. So
is that something you guys monitor and look at, like the reef temperature pretty regularly?
Yeah. So we just started doing some more surveillance. So what we're doing, we're going in with these clipboards, swimming around, and we look for disease, we look for bleaching, look for broken bits of coral. And before we jump in, the very first thing we do, visibility check and temperature check.
It's pretty cool that the rain can have such a huge effect to bring the ocean's temperature down.
Yeah, definitely.
That's something you don't consider.
Yeah. One of the crazy things is the reef itself can actually produce aerosols. So the reef releases gases, which can actually create climate zones around the reef. So the reef can produce rain.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of research going into it now, sort of a new field, but there's definite proof that these gases they're releasing is having huge effects on the meteorology.
Wow. So the reef could almost be trying to look after itself.
One theory is that, yeah. And there's no like way to prove whether it's consciously affecting it. It's just it's just one of those side effects of its respiration, I think.
Fuck, that's kind of cool.
That's really cool. Almost self-sustaining.
Smart reef. It's trying to fight what us humans are trying to fuck up in it.
Yeah,
it's resilient.
Yeah, fuck. And now, tell me more about that restoration stuff, bro. How does that work? You get some good coral from somewhere? Is it a particular type of coral? What's going on there?
So we're doing, the company I work for actually started the restoration program. So it used to be the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Association was the only people who were allowed to, touch coral and start up these nurseries.
Yep.
We've come up with a method, or the owners of the company, which the government's recognized as super successful. So they've given us a permit to teach all the other boats in the area how they do this research and how they do restoration.
Yep.
Yeah, the process sort of involves, so we call it fragmentation. So we break off a fragment of a healthy species of coral.
Yep.
And we're moving it into an area where it's optimum conditions. So
like the best.
The right salinity, all this sort of stuff. And we let them grow till they're around, fist size.
Yep.
We're reintroducing them to these areas which have been hit really hard by the bleaching.
Yep. Yeah, nice. And how long does it take for a piece of coral to grow and get a bit bigger when it's in a good condition?
Yeah, so every coral is super different. Some of the fastest growing species are like 8 centimeters a year kind of thing.
Yep.
Your branching and your plates. But those big bouldering corals you see, like those ones that make up the bommies,
yep,
some of them are only growing 1 millimeter per year.
Oh, what? Shit.
And you're seeing them, 6-7 meters across. So for them to get to the size, they're upwards of 1,000 years old.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, very old coral.
Wow.
You need a bit of both.
Are you trying to like obviously restore that as well and like grow that? Fuck me. So you'll be there for a bit, mate.
A couple of years of employment, hopefully.
1 million.
It's sort of like a bit of a partnership.
Holy shit.
Super strong boulder coral.
Yeah.
More fragile branching and plate coral from things like storm surges and those big waves. But you need the more fragile, delicate ones like your branching coral for nurseries for juvenile fish.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of tit for tat. They both help each other out.
Yep.
Man, that's cool.
Because once you see the coral start to bleach or get destroyed, you start seeing the fish disappear as well? Is that what kind of happens?
Yeah, for sure. So it's it's one of those ecosystem things. Everything is so interconnected.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows that, but when you start looking at details, you see just how interconnected things are.
Yeah.
You consider like parrotfish, sharks, all of it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, man. Like that's incredible. Like the ecosystem, the sea life, is that being affected now? Like obviously, talk about Yasi taking out 1/3. How's that affected the sea life? Have we seen like species go away? Have we seen species just die off?
It's a really hard thing to monitor because the reef, as I say, it's sort of a nursery. So I can't remember the exact figures, but I know a large percentage of the fish we use for fisheries, right? So the pelagic species like the tuna and all those fish we catch to feed the world start off a lot of their life cycle in the reef. So they start off in the reef and then they move off when they're older.
Yep.
So the effects that reef loss will have on global fish populations, it's going to take a few years. There'll be a bit of a lag to see how those populations
how it plays out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And when you do the restoration, I guess you'd start seeing some of the fish starting to come back, though. Is that?
Yeah, it sort of triggers this chain reaction because obviously the fish then have some shelter. They can come back, lay their eggs. Once the tuna start growing, then you've got the bait for the larger fish to come in. Larger fish coming in, dropping their feces, attracts more scavengers, and it all big cycle.
Yeah, wow. Fuck. Whole nother world under there, bro.
Bro, we were stalking your Instagram just before we got on.
Yeah, right.
There is some, like, recently you just posted some of the video of
manta ray, bro?
Manta ray underwater.
Yeah.
That is fucking insane. Like, is a lot of what you're doing is, are you trying to promote this and show people to get them coming in? Because, like,
I want to see you. Want to see it, don't you?
Fucking oath.
Part of the contract we just landed, a large part of it is sort of pushing media and content creation and trying to get all these sort of cool videos and images out there for the wider public. I actually only just started using Instagram about a month ago, really. Like, it sounds old, but that manta ray video was from 2 or 3 days ago and was probably one of the best days of my life. The reef was...
How big was it, bro?
That one there's probably... it's hard to tell when you're underwater. It felt like it was 6 meters long, but I'm guessing about 3. Tip to tip.
Jesus.
For those things, that's a reef manta. The oceanic mantas are getting 8 meters across, tip to tip.
Oh, shit.
They're weighing up 2 tons. So for a flat animal to weigh 2 tons, you get an idea of just how big they really are.
Fuck. Are you diving or snorkeling in this fit?
So that was actually free diving. I had a little bit of a scare when I was filming that, actually. So
ran out of air.
I was on with the camera doing a bit of photography stuff as well, like sort of part of the job, take photos of customers and the wildlife. And none of the crew have really swam with a manta like this with the company, so we're all super stoked. All us marine biologists get pretty hyper even with like parrotfish, right? So can imagine we were frothing when we seen this. So I was like in the zone. I was like, do my big pre-breathe, dive down. I'm looking through the lens of this camera, filming this manta ray, and I thought it was swimming horizontally, but it was actually swimming straight down.
Oh,
and when
fuck.
you're in the open blue like that, you've got no points of reference, so there's no reference to judge it off.
Fuck.
And I was slowly sinking because I've got all my lead weights on.
Yeah.
I could feel I was sinking, and I was holding my breath for probably only about a minute on this one. And all right, better head back to the surface, thinking I was only 5 or 6 meters deep. And I look back up, and it is by far the deepest I've ever been. And I'm like, shit,
Fuck.
I actually don't know if I'm going to make it back to the top here.
Oh my God.
I don't want to throw numbers around because it felt like it always feels deeper than it is. But
Yeah.
the surface was a long way away. And you never move straight up to the top. But I panicked. I was just like, get me out of here. Full kicking. Could feel like all pins and needles in my arms and legs. Vision sort of going dark on the outside.
Oh, fuck.
It proper shook me, eh? Like
Dude, I'm fucking proper
nervous.
shook. Yeah. Holy.
Fuck.
Pretty big scare that day. But still, one of the best days of my life for sure.
Yeah, wow. How much air did you take in when you got out of the water?
Yeah. Some pretty big breaths, that's for sure. I can guarantee. Yeah.
Bro, like that shook me. Like that's fucking.
Because you can tell that's deep in the video, bro. Like that's dark blue water.
Yeah. And it's good viz there too. So we got like 25, 30 meters viz. So that light goes a long way through.
So that could be 30 plus meters. No problems.
I've dove like close to 20 meters before, and it's definitely deeper than that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, big question. Did you go back down after that?
Look, I did do a little bit of a little short dive afterwards, but no more deep diving for the day. I was pretty bad.
Give that a break.
That's fucking insane, bro.
Yeah, but I think you made a good point. Like, more people need to get up there and see it. But I think if that's not accessible to everyone, more videos and content like this for people to follow and see
100%
allows them to actually really appreciate what's up there.
I like
and think a bit more about what your actions are and how they affect that, right? Like that's really good.
I really like how you mentioned at the start, to create that emotional connection so people can really understand what their consequences of their actions and how they could possibly change to influence it better.
It's a big part of it. I know for a lot of people, it's just sort of out of sight, out of mind.
Yep.
Once they come up, almost everyone has like an awesome experience, and it's like a memory they don't forget.
Yep.
I feel it starts to trigger the train of thought where it's like, what can I do to sort of reduce my impact? Or I want to make sure it's around for future generations, or my kids to be able to see this just the way I have. That's a big part of it, If you that emotional connection, definitely.
100%.
Have you ever seen any bitey things under the water, bro?
Bitey things? Yeah. Pretty much every day. It'd be a strange day if I didn't swim with a few sharks.
Yep. Any big ones?
We do get big ones out there. You get tigers hanging around off the bombies there. I think max size, they're getting close to 6 meters. I've never personally swam up close with a tiger.
Yeah.
The crew members on the boat definitely have.
Really?
They've swam with some big tigers, but for the most part, what we're seeing is all little reef sharks, so white tip reef sharks.
Yeah. They're pretty harmless though, those ones, right? They're just swimming around, bobbing around.
That's one of the other things that frustrates a lot of biologists is just how bad light these sharks get put in. Get a real negative view. They're so important, and they're completely harmless, these reef sharks up there.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah, because I guess they're not that big. They're probably pretty well fed. We've lost audio. Can you hear it? Hang on, bro. Hello?
I can still hear you guys.
Okay, you're back again.
I was just no, he wasn't talking.
Oh, he wasn't talking. That's why there's no audio. So they play a huge role looking after the ecosystem down there as well, right? Even the big ones would.
Yeah. So they're what we call a keystone species.
Yep.
So think of like an archway when they're building it. That last block they put in to stop it collapsing, that's the keystone.
Yep.
So they literally stop the whole ecosystem below from collapsing. The way they do that is they're eliminating all the diseased fish. So they're slower, they eat them. If they weren't there to take those fish out, the disease would decimate entire populations. And they're also reducing grazing numbers. So fish like parrotfish, which are really important, are grazing coral, so they're eating coral.
Yep.
If you got rid of all the sharks, parrotfish numbers would skyrocket, and they would eat all of the reef pretty much. So it's
Fuck.
a balance, right? You got to have the apex predators to control
Yep.
the growth.
Yep. And the parrotfish probably serve a purpose as well, right? Like they're not just what
Yeah.
they do is important as well. Yeah.
They're actually producing most of the sand you see out in the reef. So almost all the sand you see is broken down coral that probably at one stage or another was inside a parrotfish's gut.
Really?
Yeah. So those the bumphead parrotfish is one species we see quite a lot of, growing to about 1.1 meters.
Yep.
They're producing 1 ton of sand per year. So it's cool.
Shit. And that's the stuff that's building islands out there or making them bigger.
Yeah, that's literally like when you see all those sand caves and all the sand around the coral, a large percentage of it is a parrotfish poop.
Wow. It's so funny. Like, well, it's not funny. It's just amazing how, as you said before, like everything feeds everything else. Like it's just that massive. That's just astonishing.
Yeah.
There's not too much commercial fishing or anything happening around. That's all a protected zone, isn't it?
The GBR is pretty good in itself.
Yeah, that's good. We
still see the side effects. Well, I mean, it got raped during like 70s, 80s sort of thing before this legislation came in. We're still seeing like problems such as the crown of thorns starfish. You probably heard a little bit about them in the news and stuff.
What do they do?
So they eat coral, and they
right.
They can produce 100 million eggs in a single spawn. And you get massive plagues of starfish going along and just decimating the coral. So pretty much, if you haven't seen one before, I'll give you a brief overview. Pretty much the gnarliest starfish you could imagine. So 10 to 12 arms covered in venomous spines, super venomous.
So don't touch them.
Yeah, about 60 centimeters long. So we like to call them the mother-in-law starfish just because they're super hard to deal with. They're a big problem out there. Yeah.
But so something eating them? What knocks them out?
Right, so that's sort of how I segued into it. So the reason there was so many of them is because we've overfished all of their natural predators.
Right.
So we've taken out like things like the tuskfish, blue bone if you're from WA. So obviously a really good tasting fish. Us being the greedy humans we are.
Yep.
Take them all out. The other ones are Triton sea snail. So they also eat the starfish.
Yep.
But they're those. If you ever see those really cool shells in the souvenir shops, like the red and white spirals, they're your Triton sea snails.
Oh,
we've taken most of them out as well. So try and boycott them if you can see those particular shells.
Oh, fuck. So us humans are just literally fucking them up.
Yeah.
What's your favorite animal to see under the ocean, bro?
I'm a pretty big fan of sharks. I do love my sharks.
Yeah.
But yesterday I had a pretty cool interaction with a bunch of cuttlefish. And
Cuttlefish?
I got to say, they're going to be up there. Just so intelligent, right?
Yeah, right. You
So
wouldn't even think that.
These cuttlefish were like sand colored, all playing.
Yeah.
Coming up to them. There was 2 of them. One of them didn't care I was there at all. Just vibing out in the coral. And the other one, which is probably a defensive male, came storming in at me, raises all its arms up, changes sand to red and black, and starts flashing different colors.
What?
And the crazy thing they can do is actually change the surface of their skin so it looks like the coral. They grow little like extensions in a split second. Like changing the texture of their skin completely. And
Holy shit.
From about a meter away. It was blowing my mind. So
wow.
One of my favorites.
That's insane and incredible.
Yeah, I can send you through some photos later on.
Send some photos, bro.
Yeah.
We'll put them in the video.
They're literally a few seconds apart, the same animal, but they look completely different.
Wow. That's a fucking pretty cool experience to see them do that under there.
Dude, that's sick.
Didn't even think they could do that.
Yeah, super smart too. Like,
and do you come across a few turtles up that way as well, bro?
Plenty, mate. The most common we get is the green sea turtle.
Yep.
So they're pretty common. We actually get 6 out of the world's 7 marine turtles on the GBR. So we get those green sea turtles are pretty interesting as well.
Yeah.
They're brown, so everyone's like, why did you call them the green sea turtle? Like quite clearly brown.
Yep.
The reason is, but if you cut them open, which I don't suggest doing, but if you did, you'd see their fat tissue is actually fluorescent green, like a really bright green.
Yeah, that's right.
Their diet, just bioaccumulating all that chlorophyll from phytoplankton, algae, things like that.
And that's made their insides green.
Yep, fluorescent green.
Yeah, right. Never would have thought that. Yeah, because one of your videos you got on your page is you walking around with a bucket of turtles, bro.
Oh, yeah. So that was over in Papua New Guinea. We were doing that trip actually shark tagging was the main purpose we were there. So we're tagging. Yeah, that was a pretty awesome trip. So,
what kind of sharks?
So we were chasing the scalloped hammerhead shark and tiger sharks.
Hammerhead sharks.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what we were chasing. But because that area, it's the first time that they've actually done any shark surveillance there at all. So it's this tiny island. You got to fly into Port Moresby, a few hours plane trip to Alatau, and then I think it's a 13-hour boat ride to get to this little island.
Oh.
They've never before done any sort of shark research there. So we were the first people to go. What we found though was that there's been a huge cull of the sharks for shark finning.
Oh, fuck.
We didn't end up catching any tiger sharks or any hammerheads. We mostly caught these pretty big grey reefies, which are a species of, this is different to your black and white tips. They're growing to about 2.5 meters. So not huge, but big enough.
Big enough, yeah.
Too big.
Yeah, a lot of reef sharks. So we're catching those, putting tags in, taking DNA samples.
So you catch them with a rod and reel? Is that kind of the deal, or?
So we're actually setting drum lines. So these really big drum lines. And we monitor them. So the sharks never hooked up for more than 10 minutes at a time. We sort of float between the boys. And
how do you get a shark off a hook?
So it's a bit of a process. We use circle hooks, which sort of ensure that it gets hooked in the mouth 90% of the time, so it stops them from swallowing it. Trying to remove a hook from a stomach isn't going to work too well. So what we do, we get them beside the boat, someone chucks on a tail rope, the other person secures the jaw line, so they pull that jaw really tight with the hook. And we push the hook with a set of pliers all the way through, so we make sure it goes all the way through the mouth, out the other side. Cut it with bolt cutters, the barb off, and then it slides straight back out. So the shark, all it's got left is a little hole in its cheek, and they actually recover 5 times the rate that we do. That's nothing for them. They swim fine.
And your hand is around their mouth that whole time.
Yeah. We actually had one of the crew did get bit actually, and one of them.
No.
What?
That's a strong no from me.
Yeah, so that was an unfortunate case actually. It was
an unfortunate case.
So the way it works is a tail rope, so hold on the tail, and as I said, on the jawline. Now, for whatever reason, the tail rope didn't go on properly. And the person on the jawline, his English wasn't great. It was one of the PNG nationals. We try to get into the sort of ranger stuff. So we were yelling at him, let go, and he never clue what we meant. So we just And it was only a small shark. It was only about a meter long. It just latched onto his fingers, and he lifted his hand up, and the shark was still attached, just shaking.
Oh, fuck!
Yeah. But all in all, no real damage done. Didn't take any fingers off. Just sort of messed up the hand a little bit.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You put your hand near a shark anytime soon, Brandon?
Bro, just straight up no. That's insane.
Fuck, what a cool encounter. Did you get to pull any hooks out of the mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty of that.
Fuck, that's insane, dude.
Yeah.
It would have been the same process if it was a big tiger?
Literally the exact same thing. So it's like a well-oiled machine. There's about 6 scientists. We bring the shark up from the drum line, and it takes about 30 seconds. So someone's doing taking photos of the teeth, someone's doing DNA samples, someone's fixing it, someone's measuring it. And then we cut the hook, and the whole thing takes about 30 seconds. It's good to go. Yeah,
cool. And what does that sort of, I mean, I guess from that research, it sort of showed that, there'd been all the shark finning done, which is not real good for it. Would the plan be someone would go back in years to come to try and see the population grow again? Like, what happens with that?
Yeah, so what we were actually trying to do for that specific region was establish a green zone. So we were hoping to prove that there was enough like spawning sharks, enough shark breeding going on of these endangered species that had forced the government to make it a no-take zone. But unfortunately, because there were so many sharks that got taken out of the area, there wasn't enough individuals to prove that it was super important for them. And we kind of know it was. There's a type of shark there called the Milne Bay epaulet shark. Really cool shark that actually walk around on the land when the tide gets really low.
What?
Walking
shark.
Yeah, literally also called the walking shark. They've been on David Attenborough a few times.
What the fuck?
I'm learning so much right now.
Brando's in marine school right now.
Literally, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. But that specific type is only found in that like tiny area around those few islands. So.
Oh, fuck.
And there's no protection there, no green zones or anything.
And they've got fins and people might want them.
Exactly. The price for fins is worth the price to pay apparently.
Disappointing. What do they do with the fins? They eat them, or what do they do with them?
Send them over to so in Asia, obviously that shark fin soup is huge delicacy, and they're charging like several $100 US per bowl for this these soups. And it's actually, the crazy thing is that shark fin itself is just gelatinous. It actually has no flavor to it. They add chicken stock to give the soup its flavor.
Huh.
It's believed to have these medicinal values, but that's a cultural thing, not a scientific thing.
Yep.
It's pretty frustrating to look from the outside and say there is no point to be killing these sharks. And what they're doing, they literally pull them up, cut the fins off while it's alive, and just chuck the whole shark back.
Fuck. So it's still kicking and screaming for a bit without its fin.
It drowns. Yeah, it's like chucking us back in without arms and legs.
Yeah, because what's the purpose of the fin in the shark? Because that's kind of keeps it driving, right?
Yeah, so they just all they want is those fins, and you see these boats coming in with like sacks and sacks of fins, and you just got to think how many. I know some crazy stats we were getting was like when we're on the boats, we try to tell people not to be worried of sharks, how important they are. So we tell them, you're more likely to be killed by a cow than a shark. Vending machines kill more people than sharks. Coconuts, all these crazy stats.
Yep.
So about 6 people a year die from sharks. We're taking out over 100 million sharks each year.
Oh.
The populations are down to, on average, 5% of what they should be. Some of them are down to 1%. So we've lost 99% of the population in quite a lot of species.
Jesus Christ. It's just, how does a vending machine kill a person?
Right, yeah. So,
right.
Yeah, people drunk after a night out, shaking it, trying to get that
right.
pack of chips, and it just falls on them, or maybe they're moving it from place to place. Imagine a fair bit would be in the States.
Actually kills people.
Yeah, fucks them up.
Holy
More
shit.
people than sharks. Yeah, fuck. So if you had the opportunity, would you love to swim with some big ones, like a great white or anything like that? That's on the list.
Yeah, I mean, tigers is like the #1 animal I want to swim with.
Yeah.
But there's been a bit of mixed reviews. Some people saying it is safe to swim with them outside of a cage. Some people saying it's not.
That was my follow-up question. Would you be in or out of the cage for it?
Right. Personally, I'd love to be outside the cage. But
of course you would. Gosh, no.
So you can sort of read the shark's behavior a little bit. Erratic movements, things like that. If it's got those fins curling around, they're pretty stressed out. You'd only ever do it in crystal clear water where there's no sort of food source in the water.
Yep.
That's like, in those conditions, I think it'd be perfectly safe. They're pretty docile by nature. They're actually really placid.
Yep.
But as soon as it gets a bit murky, and I wouldn't be getting in.
Yeah, because once it's murky, that's their time, isn't it? They can just swim it out, and they know that you can't see them.
The scary thing is they have these pores in their nose called ampullae, and they can detect the muscle movement, so the electro pulses in your muscle movements. And they can build up like a 3D image of you from some distance away, like a hologram kind of thing, just with electro sensors, even in really murky water. And that's sort of why you see so many attacks on the surfers as well. So you've probably heard all the stories with the surfers, it looks like a seal from below, a great white are feeding on marine mammals.
Yeah.
One of the other reasons is that fiberglass board is actually blocking out all of your electro signals from your major organs. So when it builds up this 3D image, this little hologram thing, what it gets is 4 individual animals, being your 2 arms and your 2 legs.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's looking for, so it comes up. And unfortunately, with those great whites, they don't have a tongue like we do. They can only taste through their gums. So when they bite, so they bite to see what it is, by which point a trial bite from a great white is normally fatal for us.
A trial bite.
That's
blown away on that electro pulse thing.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But that's why you never see them. You never hear stories of the sharks hanging around to finish off the whole meal. It is a case of mistaken identity. They have a bite, mouth full of neoprene and fiberglass.
Yeah.
On the way.
A little bit of leg.
Yeah. A little bit of the good stuff.
Yeah.
Never going in the ocean again.
Brando's not swimming again, bro. Oh, fuck. Living up that far north, bro, do you get opportunity to explore out the rainforest and that kind of stuff a bit?
Yeah. So Port Douglas is pretty much bang smack between the reef and the Daintree, which is the oldest rainforest.
Yep.
I love all that stuff. So even just where I'm living, there's a bit of bush just around the house, and it's full of tree frogs, tree snakes, all that.
Yep.
This morning, I was actually meant to take the dirt bike for a ride through the Daintree, but it started pissing rain. So glad you sort of invited me for the podcast.
Maybe something else pretty exciting to do instead. Geez, that's pretty cool to run around the Daintree. Do you see any crocs or anything like that floating around up there?
Yeah, man, heaps of crocs getting in this time of year, for sure.
You guys are just not going to make me sleep tonight.
They're not in Brisbane, bro. And they get big too, right? Up there.
Yeah, proper big. Yeah.
If I have dreams about sharks or crocs, I'm coming for you.
Croc shark with a hybrid.
Yeah.
We don't need to
That's
talk
what
about that.
that's what you'll dream about, won't it, bro?
That is insane.
Crocs, I reckon, are so much more scary than sharks.
Yeah, they want to fuck you up.
Like, for them, it's not a case of mistaken identity. We are dead set on the menu. We are.
Yeah, well, they're dinosaurs, literally, right? So for them to be able to survive time itself, they're quite happy to snack and eat whatever they want.
They got no rules. They just play by their own games.
Yeah, fucking hell.
That's insane.
Yeah, fuck. Mate, I was scrolling through your Instagram again, bro, and I need to ask you about this photo of you sitting. Oh, you can't even see it, so it doesn't matter. You're sitting on the side of a cliff. What is that, and where is that, you lunatic?
All right.
And how many meters up is it?
Okay, so that is actually over 1 kilometer free fall. Over 1,000 meters sheer drop.
What?
Where? It's over in Norway.
Yep.
It's a pretty big spot for the base jumpers and all that.
Yep.
I mean, you're probably picking up.
What the fuck is this one? You're on a rock between two cliffs.
Yeah. That's the one.
What the fuck?
Again, in Norway, in the same region, that's the exact same height. So that's 1,100 meters below that.
If anyone goes on his Instagram, don't swipe right. You just get a video of it.
So you put the camera over the edge, with your feet hanging around.
Yeah. I'm probably picking up. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie. I just love all that sort of heart rate and stuff. But that spot there, super cool. I'm trying to remember the name of it's near a town called Stavanger.
Wow.
Southwest Norway, and the views are just to die for.
One literally could die. 1 kilometer, 1,100 meters up.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, like you chuck a rock off and you're just watching it, and it just feels like an eternity. You don't obviously hear it land, you don't see it, it goes out of sight, but you're watching it for a good 5-6 seconds and it just disappears and you can't see it.
Dude,
my stomach is turning.
Yeah, watching that video gave me anxiety. That's fucking insane. You're an incredible human being. Now,
what else is on the cards for you this year, bro?
I'm still
anything
shocked.
else exciting out there?
So definitely sticking around with the company I'm working for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that those photos in Norway was when I was on exchange. I was actually meant to go to the Arctic to do some more marine stuff up there.
Yeah.
Because of COVID, sort of put an end to all that. So I'm still pretty keen to go somewhere Arctic-like. So I'm hoping end of this year, maybe start of next year. Yeah. Trying on some of those Antarctic voyages, leaving from Canada.
Yep.
So they're doing some really cool stuff with ice coring. So, they're digging those big ice samples out and they're checking the little bubbles in the ice.
Really?
To actually contain the gases from millions of years ago, like when the dinosaurs were walking around. So they can check CO2, oxygen levels just from those little bubbles.
Wow. So they can date the ice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Doing dating the ice, but also they can literally find out what the constituents of the air was at that particular time.
Yeah, my God. Cool. I've actually learned probably so much from this podcast.
Taking notes.
Yeah.
Would you go swimming over there, you reckon? Would you dive or free dive over there?
Yeah.
Of course you fucking would.
Over there, you got dry suit diving.
Yep.
So that whole James Bond suit thing, the suit underneath, that kind of. And they're doing under the ice. The dives are under the ice.
So you cut a hole and in you go.
Yeah. So I think you cut the big hole. So I've never done this before. I meant to do it, but got cut short from COVID.
Yeah.
So I'm super hyped. But what they do, they drill these holes in, and someone stays on top, and they keep moving the water to stop the ice forming again, to stop it freezing.
That's important.
And you have a line attached to you, goes back to the hole. So worst case scenario, you've at least got some way of finding your way back. But under there, it just looks gorgeous. It's like eerie blue from the sun coming through the ice. Crystal.
Yeah, of course. Would there be many animals swimming around down there as well?
Yeah. You got so a fair few whale, different species of whale.
Yep.
Trying to think which species you get around that way. But even the even your humpbacks, they start off in Antarctic waters. I think a lot in the ice channels are smooth whales.
Yep.
And the other really cool animal you get down that way is fur seals.
Oh.
I've never really thought of seals as being a pretty scary animal. When you start looking at these guys, they're they're eating penguins, which are emperor penguins.
Yeah.
1.5 meters tall, and their
Eating
jaws can open 180 degrees.
What?
And these are huge seals. So they're definitely like, I wouldn't be in the water with one of those. No way.
So you take a tiger shark over one of these seals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. That's insane, bro. I fucking love it. Bro,
Cool.
mate, we got 10 questions for you, buddy. Are you
Please.
ready? What
10.
makes you unique? Rapid fire.
What makes me unique? Love adrenaline, so adrenaline addicted.
Yep.
I think that's something you don't find too often. I love traveling. That is not unique at all. Probably the least unique thing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, marine science. That's one unique thing.
You're the only marine scientist I know.
Yeah. Black belt taekwondo. It's
Yep.
strange. Dual citizenship.
That's pretty unique.
Big beard, receding hairline at 20. No good. It's pretty unique.
Mate, just more tattoos, bro. That'll cover that up. Neck
Roger.
ones.
Geez, that's about all I got.
It's all
That's
right,
a pretty
mate.
good answer.
Who are the special people in your life?
Definitely family. So luckily I'm really close with all family. So mum and dad and 2 sisters.
Yep.
Stay in pretty close contact with. I call them all a couple of times a week. Some really good schoolmates from Brizzy. And so a lot of my best friends there I've known for upwards of 12 years now. And then moving to university, the people I met in those environments were just completely changed the scene for me. So they're from all over the country, different backgrounds, different countries, and they have also become some of my best mates. And they're 100% people are cool. They haven't even talked about anything. Any problems pop up, they got them back. Good people.
What are you most proud of, bro?
Most proud of? I think one thing that I'm really happy with is just sort of the ability to meet new people and sort of have like an open personality. I think that's one thing I've like kind of worked on the last few years, obviously moving around from other different universities, going on exchange, moving cities where I live. Sort of proud of the fact that I'm quite comfortable to go out, go to a bar even by yourself, and you can just end up having a chat to people, which I feel is a skill that not everyone has. And
No, everyone's too scared.
Sick, dude.
What movie would you star in, and who would you be?
I'd love to star in King Kong, not gonna lie. That's a pretty awesome film. And to be one of those explorers on the boats, finding a brand new island, seeing all those crazy animals. Yeah.
That'd be you. What's your most used emoji?
It's actually the one of the otter just floating on its back, having the time of its life.
Floater otter.
It's
I'm
awesome.
gonna find that right now.
Didn't know there was a floater otter.
It's just this otter chilling out. I send it to everyone.
I love it. What was your favorite dinosaur as a kid?
Oh, dude, look at it.
Floater otter.
That's amazing.
Well
That
done.
is chilling. Favorite dino, man, Velociraptor's pretty cool. Like how they're so smart. The one you're looking at's not the one you got to be careful of. It's the one behind you.
Absolutely. If you could find out how and when you die, would you?
Yeah, God, may as well have a end date so I can fit in all the cool stuff to do in between.
Yeah.
That's a good way. Yeah. Okay.
What age do you feel right now?
I'm actually gonna say I feel older than I do, which I'm guessing is probably a bit of a different answer to what most people would like to say. But I know a lot of the crowd I'm hanging out with is a lot older than me, so I've sort of kind of raced through.
It's all good, bro. Like he's 8 years older than me. I get it.
Hey.
Yeah, I sort of raced through the whole, finish school, go straight to uni, graduate, get a job.
Be an adult.
A lot of people I'm working with they took gap years or
Yep.
some people are figuring out what they want to do. So definitely, I think a lot of my mates are a few years older, and yeah, I feel I'm probably more mid-20s compared to
Mid-20s. Nice. What was your favorite pet growing up?
We used to have a dog called Basil, who was this huge German Shepherd. He was
Basil the German Shepherd.
he was probably 40 kilos. He was just the coolest dog, super dopey. Like
Yeah.
he would like turn his head when you whistle his name, just straight into the table leg, just all aware of his surroundings. He was so big. But he was such a cool dog. He would like chase all the rabbits, hedgehogs, squirrels, all that thing.
Yeah.
And he actually ended up passing because he ate a rugby ball. But he was pretty old, and it's probably the most fitting way for him to go. He ate a whole rugby ball.
That's the best.
Yeah. So as sad as it was, it just suited him.
What's the best thing you did that happened to you last week?
Best thing that happened to me last week.
It's got to be those cuttlefish.
Well, the manta ray. I'm going to say that manta ray day.
Yeah.
That same day, we also had eagle rays, spinner dolphins, so the dolphins all around us, marble rays, and heaps of sharks. It was just all in all.
That's fucking cool.
Man, that was, I don't know how to, like, that was educational. That was awesome.
That was a fucking adventure, bro.
Bro, thank you so much for jumping in this afternoon. Like, we really appreciate it. If anyone wants to reach out and get in touch with you about the tourism stuff you do or the educational stuff, like, where can they find you? How can they get in touch?
Yeah, definitely check out Wavelength Reef Cruises in Port Douglas if you want to have sort of a more educational style tourism experience up on the reef. I'll be out there, take good care of you. We'll take you on the boat, and it's the best way to go. So Wavelength Reef Cruises.
Awesome, man. Sweet, I'll put that all up on the show notes. Can't thank you enough for jumping in.
Thanks, bro.
We'll catch up soon, bro.
Cheers for having me.
We have to fucking go up and do an episode there on the reef.
Tell me when, bro. I need to go back.
Fucking oath. Bro, thanks so much. Have a good one, man.
Thanks, Ads. Talk to you soon, bro. Appreciate it, man.